2015, at the Southeast Asian Games in Singapore, a rising Indonesian talent stepped onto the court with fearless energy and an unusual grip that caught everyone off guard. His name? Firman Abdul Kholik. Just 18 at the time, was part of a new wave of Indonesian prodigies, rising alongside names like Anthony Ginting and Jonathan Christie, the future of Indonesian badminton. With a whip-like forehand and raw power, Firman wasn't just challenging his opponent, he was challenging a legend. None other than Lee Chong Wei, Malaysia's icon, a man who had carried his nation's badminton hopes for over a decade. And this wasn't just any match. It was Lee's return to the SEA Games stage after 6 long years, and the pressure was immense. The young gun came out swinging, points flew in his favor. Commentators raised eyebrows. Was an upset brewing? But Lee Chong Wei didn't panic, because in badminton, it's not just about speed, it's not just about power, it's about mastery. So how did the veteran outsmart the bullet smasher? What tactical shift turned the tide? And how did Firman's firepower stack up against Lee's experience? Let's dive into the match. When Lee Chong Wei met the bullet smasher, from the very first rally, Lee Chong Wei's sharp net play gave him early control, allowing him to dictate the pace and seize attacking opportunities. However, when the opportunity came, Firman didn't hesitate and began to show what he was made of, unleashing lightning-fast smashes that even caught Lee Chong Wei off guard. The smash came like a bullet, giving Lee Chong Wei almost no time to react. Sudden, fast push to the back forced a weak return from Lee Chong Wei, which got instantly punished. Both players stood firm in defense, but Lee Chong Wei flipped the rally, turning defense into attack with ease. Firman's return clipped the net cord, disrupting Lee Chong Wei's timing and creating the perfect opening for a decisive net kill. Very soon, Lee Chong Wei responded with a net cord of his own. Finally, with a well-disguised drop shot, Lee Chong Wei secured a 3-point cushion heading into the interval. After the interval, Lee Chong Wei shifted into full control, dictating the tempo, maintaining a tight net game, and patiently building his attacks. Firman was consistently forced into defense, with no openings to unleash his trademark smashes. The momentum had fully swung in Lee's favor. 15-10, Furman began to mount a comeback. He started taking more initiative at the net, looking to cut off Lee's control and create space for his powerful smashes. His footwork grew sharper, and he began anticipating Lee's placements more effectively. The momentum slowly shifted as Furman forced a few errors, narrowed the gap, and showed that the bullet smasher still had fight left in him. Pinpoint defensive shot from Furman that landed perfectly on the line. Furman pulled off another fascinating shot, an unconventional, passive cross-court punch clear. But just as the gap began to close, Lee Chong Wei responded like a true champion. He slowed the pace, varied his shots, and refused to let Furman settle into rhythm. Using precise placement, Lee gradually regained control, reminding everyone why he was still the man to beat. The comeback attempt was impressive, but against a player like Lee Chong Wei, even the slightest hesitation can cost you the match. Lee Chong Wei read Furman's anticipation and stayed one step ahead. Facing game point at 16-20, Furman was under immense pressure, but with brilliant variation and a clever change of pace, he saved 2 game points in a row, showing maturity beyond his years and refusing to back down against the legend. At the crucial point, Lee Chong Wei seized the moment with a perfectly timed counterattack, clinching the first game, a masterclass in control, patience, and finishing under pressure. In the second game, the gap in class became clear. Lee Chong Wei came out firing, aggressive, sharp, and completely in control. He pushed the pace, attacked relentlessly, and never gave Furman the chance to breathe. The bullet smasher had no answer. Every lift was punished, every hesitation exposed. It was a one-sided display, a master reminding a rising star that he's still at the top of the food chain. Furman played a tight net, but Lee's perfect lift shut down the attack. Forced to clear, Lee smashed it down the line with authority. Lee Chong Wei's cross-court defense kept Furman on the run, opening up space before finishing with a decisive smash. An explosive smash with a perfectly disguised drop shot. It was a textbook example of how Lee Chong Wei mixed power and precision to dismantle his opponent's rhythm. After 13-10, Lee Chong Wei never looked back. With relentless attacks and a mix of forced and unforced errors from Furman, he reeled off 8 straight points to close out the game in dominant fashion. A thunderous shot from Lee Chong Wei, Furman could only watch as the shuttle blazed past him, untouched. This rally said it all. Even after the smash, Lee Chong Wei still managed to reach Furman's net cord return, but Furman couldn't do the same. And just like that, the bullet smasher was humbled by a master of the game. Furman Abdulkolik came in with firepower, potential, and fearless energy. But Lee Chong Wei showed that badminton isn't just about power. It's about control, precision, and timing. One was rising, the other was reigning. And on that day, the legend stood tall. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more legendary match moments. Got a rally or rivalry you want to see next? Drop it in the comments to let me know. Thanks for watching.